Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome to the Man United Agenda. And my lord, do I have some presents for you tonight? We've got OMONDI, Dora, and Andy Tate. So get ready to jingle all the way. Yes, good evening, one and all. I am an extremely lucky little bathtub tonight because I'm joined by three of the best talkers on YouTube. As always, I have OMONDI Juma or Yabba Forbes with me tonight. OMONDI, how are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. Doing good. Had a productive day at work, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this show to hear the thoughts of Dora and Andy. Yeah, looking forward to this.
I really like the way you've matched the top of your hat to your wallpaper. That is fantastic.
All right.
The camouflage, that Predator style.
It's like our midfield. And I'm also joined by Dora. Dora, how are you? We haven't seen you for a week.
Yeah, I've been a bit sick, but I got better. My nephew came from Dubrovnik, so I'm happy about it. So yeah, I'm great, in my personal life, but the football is killing me, as it always is, anytime I come here and talk about it. But this is a therapy, so good to see you guys, and I'm so happy of being, with Andy on the same panel, because I really I love you, Andy. You're so cool.
Oh, Dora. And last but not least, we're joined by Andy Tate. Last time you were on, Andy, you were telling us all why you firmly back the manager and you were 100% behind him. Has anything changed in the last week for you?
His decision making, for a start, that's what I'll question him on. But you learn from your mistakes, and he's still learning from his mistakes. I was a little bit shocked on Saturday with the team selection. Absolutely shocked with the team performance. Generally upset me, generally rattled me, that performance on Saturday. And like you may have seen me straight for Paddock video, and yeah. Bruno Fernandes clocked me on last Saturday with Hoyland, and they wanted to say thank you, and I was having none of it. I'll just say I won't repeat the hand signals and the words that was said. Your apologies don't wash anymore, mate. It's garbage. It's garbage. Right. Your apologies are hollow, mate. Absolutely hollow.
Well, what's not hollow are the comments. So we'll just start off by seeing who's in the house, and then we'll get stuck into it. So first of all, we got the voice of doom, which is our old leader, Solo. Ten Hag sacked by Christmas, lost the dressing room, no direction, no style of play, no plan A to plan D. Big up, everyone. And then we have Matthew Bassett saying good evening to everyone. And he's saying that he thinks Eric's time's up. He made the same mistakes as Ollie, and it's backfired on him. He only has himself to blame. And we got Big T coming in. When the only argument to not sack the manager is that we sack previous managers, it's time to sack the manager. And then it's Rajiji. Good evening, peeps. What's the story in Balamori? I don't know. Never seen it. Children's TV program here, Dora. And then we got Box coming in with good evening. And here's a face we haven't seen for a while. It's Suze82. Hi, guys. This club is done till the Glazers go. Big up, everyone. And Big T is saying managers come and go. Memories are engraved forever. Ten Hag out. Blimey.
Wow.
And look at this. It's Mr. B, who is currently building a bed. So good luck with that, Mr. B. Okay, so Dora and Andy, we haven't seen you for a week. Do you want to give us your sort of thoughts about the last couple of games and what you've thought about it? And Andy, like what people are saying in and around Old Trafford?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think the last two games has been, let's say, the shock of Saturday and the performance was unacceptable. The criticism and the boos are justified. And we know these players can't take criticism. Don't like it. They run and shy away. And it was well within our rights to question the mentality, the work ethic, the pressing, the work, the running. Honestly, and it was a Jekyll and Hyde performance from the previous game against Chelsea. And in the other game, like you say, absolutely just the same again. And Ten Hag comes out with, I thought we played well. We shouldn't have lost the game. One shot in 94 minutes. One shot. And that was Bruno Fernandes. I think it was Luke Shaw at the Stretford end in the first half. And Bruno Fernandes had one in the second half. And I think that cleared our bit. And it's still somewhere around the Hubble space. So that'll re-entry and land the field and hit Unana on the head. And then that'll be 1-0 to Liverpool in the last minute. So, yeah. But the attitude, the two games, quite similar. Lackluster. No accountability, no energy, no work, wanting to work for each other, working for the fans. It's clear to me, the players, if you're going to get rid of the manager, you can't do it yet. He must be allowed to get rid of these players. These players cannot do this again. And who's to say they won't do it again? Again and again. Now, Saturday, I was shocked, absolutely shocked on the performance. I was upset. I was visibly shaken. And it must be one of the only times I've never swore on a podcast, on a fan cam. Never swore on a fan cam. And I was quite shocked at that. And you know what? I didn't raise my voice. I was just bewildered with the performance and the grief I give him. And do you know what? It's still got to me till Monday morning. Still got to me. I was fuming. Man United tweeted something out, ready for the Champions League on Tuesday. And I went, are you for real? We're still naffed off from Saturday. So, and you see the press conference with Scott McTominay. Oh, it's not as toxic as it used to be. What? Yeah, and you're saying it was toxic when everybody was in denial over the previous two managers. The way you undermined Radnick, the way you threw Ollie under the bus. Oh, it's not as toxic as it used to be. Well, thanks for clearing that up. Now we know it is toxic in there. So it's the players as well. I keep saying this about Scott McTominay. You are just 1-2 game player this season and you go missing for 5, 6, 7 games. Moment in time against Brentford does not carry us towards glory. It doesn't. It's one moment in one game. Just like Chelsea, you got to do it week in, week out. And to me, he is the new favourite teacher's pet after he should have been out the door in the summer. And I just don't. And Varane coming back last night. That's the only positive. That last 2 games, Varane back last night, and you could see why we needed him. And I don't understand why he didn't play him against City. He didn't play him against Newcastle in both of the Newcastle games. So yeah, there's no shred of comfort last night in the last 2 games, apart from Varane for me. And I feel sorry for Højlund. Hey, he's gonna get the grief, but how can he do anything if he's not getting supplied? Martial, Laser, Bruno, McTominay, just like the only other player who was brilliant, and I'm not a fan of him, is Harry Maguire. And I know he's been brilliant the last 6, 7 games. And he's, like I say, it's lambs to the slaughter on Sunday, and it's I think Ten Hag is saying things like he said we were good last night and we shouldn't have lost. Man. We can all see it with our own eyes. You're only seeing what you want to see. Or privately, you're laying into him and you're not showing it. You're trying to protect these players. You can't protect these players. They won't accept criticism. They won't take criticism. He's trying to protect them as much as they can. Then they rebel. Then they moan. They don't want to train. They don't want to run. And even then, the other day, I saw that training video, which was uploaded. Oh my God. What are we doing? So Sunday, I would rather put my eyes in battery acid and watch that on Sunday. I am not watching it Sunday. I'll listen to it on the radio, yes, but I'll spend my time wrapping my Christmas presents on Sunday afternoon. That's what I'm going to do. And
what's Scott McTominay getting?
Ooh, hand grenade. I don't know. He's not on my Christmas card list anyway. But like you say, that's how I'm feeling. I don't know what is going to happen Sunday. If by some reason we get something, I will be relieved. Then we can move on and go from there. This is what happens when it's a big game. Now it's just you don't know what to expect. It's like the City Liverpool games. This is what I said at the start of the season. If you go to them games, them stadiums, and just put in a performance, even if you get beat, I ain't got a problem. But this is the game again where they will go missing. And Monday, don't be surprised if all of you lot and all the other YouTube channels are doing overtime.
I'd be very surprised if we did overtime, to be perfectly honest.
Well, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. I'll just sit back and kick back and I'll be in shock. Now, you got to back him. You really got to back him. But the structure above him, the structure underneath him, he's got no help, and he's taken a lot of blows, and these players are ducking it again, and it's just unacceptable. Wow, I'm at 11 minutes in. I've not sworn one bit. You can say criticism without being nasty. But these players, they won't react. And like you say, mate, I've had a lot of support last few days from United fans, even complete strangers in the street shaking my hand today when I'm going Christmas shopping. You know what I mean? I love your passion, and I totally understand. And I've turned around to some fans and say, even a Liverpool fan, he said, "I love you, Andy. I love your passion." And I said, "Well, would you let a player who gets 375k a week get to you? They're just not worth it anymore." So, like you say, I've had a lot of support. I've had no negativity. But why don't you get abuse online? I'm not bothered about that. Flippity floppity, Andy Tate. But no. It's just my club. It's the way I love my club. And until we get back to the pinnacle where we want to be, this is going to be, wow, bang, 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 bang. But I try to think straight and look at Arsenal. You may get a few seasons like this, and like I say, look at Arsenal now, and all them Arteta out mugs who wanted him out, and look where you are now, challenging, and you just got to ride through this. You got your you got your first bit of taste last season when we won a trophy. It could be another 4 or 5 years before we see another trophy, but you just got to get through this. Maybe get through this season. If we get some players back and second half of this season, you got 1 game a week now between now and the end of the season. Learn your opponents, learn their strengths, their weaknesses, your strengths and weaknesses. And if you cannot do that week in, week out till the end of the season, then it's time to take another sport for me. I've been watching snooker the last few days. It's been beautiful. Watching snooker with a cup of tea and a biscuit. Brilliant. But if you can't do the fundamentals 1 game a week, you don't deserve your wage packet. You really don't.
Agreed. And just before we get to Dora on a Monday, I'm going to go through some comments, which, as you'd suspect, are once again giving Andy a lot of support, as he is like one of the most genuine men you'll ever find on YouTube talking about Manchester United. And that was brilliant, Andy. I could listen to that all day.
Thank you.
And UK Strains is saying, good evening, panel and chat. And he's also coming in and saying, Andy, your response to the Bournemouth game was understandable. Ed Mayhem is saying, good evening, guys. I'll save you time. Ten Hag is going nowhere. And then he's blowing us all a lovely cheeky kiss. And then it's Bart. 15 goals conceded in 60 games. Over 40 already in all competitions. And Bart is actually in November when the rest of us are in December.
Has he got a DeLorean?
I don't know, but I think there's a lot of stuff he doesn't have. Rushmano is saying that McTominay goes missing most games. And it's good to see you again, Rushmano. Andy, did you give Bruno the middle finger, or is that the peace sign, or is it no? It's the V sign. Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin style.
Okay, I don't know what that means.
Oh, Stone Cold Steve Austin used to do that in the wrestling. Yep, OMONDI would know about it.
It was actually the middle finger he used to do.
Oh, was it? Oh, whatever.
Yeah,
It's the universal symbol of Juggernaut. I don't want to know.
Yeah. And then we got Box, who's agreeing with your point about Rashford's ridiculous contracts. And he's got 4 goals in 32 games. That's Weghorst levels. But he's not being paid like Weghorst. And then we've got Double A, bigging us all up. We've got Big T, who's saying the players we're blaming now have played better. The players we're playing now played better in previous seasons. What's the difference this season? The manager has lost them and made useless additions to the team. So we can maybe get into that a little bit later. Mr. B is saying Sunday we're going to take licks. And Rashmano is saying, wonder if Anthony will bring his right foot to Anfield. Last but not least, we've got Hydro saying good evening all, and Vincent has popped up to say, to be fair, I've been going to United a long time. Even when Emma used, I don't know. Okay, this is the worst Champions League experience I've ever seen. What do you think about that, Andy? If you could just hold that for a second, Andy, because I'd love to hear what Dora and Amondo are thinking at the moment. And as our guest, Dora, you can go first.
Thank you. It's hard to follow up what Andy said, but I will be more brief because I think that Andy covered most of it perfectly. I don't know what to say. Like thank God I wasn't watching that Bournemouth game live because I would lose my mind. I actually caught up a few days later after that before the Bayern game, and I was appalled with the way how the players lacked not just the will to play, but also the structure and everything else. They were in shambles. I think that Bournemouth actually showcased how you should play, despite them being on the lower than us and in the below 10th place or whatever. It's just like Bayern game, bad time. You and me talked about it for a bit last night. I was, pissed off. I was quite angry, and I wasn't satisfied with the way we played. I thought that there was energy, but I think that we could have done something more, of course. But looking back at it, a day later, it feels that it's obvious that Bayern Munich are just 5 levels above us. As I said in the previous streams, it's like we are 3 days before, 3 days before Wooden Spoon. This is a literal, creation, quote. We are just, 10, 20 years behind everyone else, behind, top tier clubs, in regards to infrastructure, the organization of the club, and just, the whole thing, right? We all know it. It's from top to bottom, rotten to the core or whatever. But, I felt that even that Bayern game, I felt that they tried, but they're just not good enough. And, I'm not satisfied with this squad. And I think that, maybe 70% of these players are just not carved out to play for this club. And it has been the same way. And I felt that way since Mourinho left, because I thought that they threw him as well under the bus. Yes, he was supposed to go at that point because he, broke down and he called out everyone in the media. But even then, you could see the lack of squad mentality with the way they, the locker room was, the Martials and Pogbas and all those guys, throwing the manager under the bus. I didn't like that at all. Europa League final really, broke me under Ole, and I saw that this team is just, this squad of players is just not going to cut it. But you know what? You always get sucked in, right? After last season, this off season as well, I got sucked in. I thought that we are going to get better, but after 2 first games, when everyone was fit, by the way, I saw lackluster, plays, lackluster games, and I think that the manager is at fault as well for that. It's easy for me to blame the players because I've been blaming them for years, but I think Ten Hag needs to be accountable for his decisions because the way he sticks to his ways with that double pivot, which doesn't work. I mean, by the time you were like, even I've been going to these streams and it's always the same thing, right? Two number 8s are too far up. The defensive midfielders are just, alone on the island that we are getting overrun every single game. It doesn't matter if we are playing Luton or Bayern Munich. We are getting overrun in the midfield. That's on the manager as well. That's not only on the players. I know players are bad. It doesn't help that we have 8 injuries. We are bad. This squad is absolutely awful, but the manager needs to figure out something because this cannot cut it. If we play with this squad, with this starting 11 against Liverpool, they're going to tear us apart. We are going to have so many holes in that midfield, not just in the midfield, in the defense as well, because some of the unforced errors, the players, they're just not disciplined. They're not. I don't think that they're conditioned enough. Their fitness isn't good enough. I think they're lackluster, this season especially. But the manager also needs to be, sit down and think about, okay, how do I prep for this game? Because we cannot attack like, in the previous games. We need to be on the back foot a bit. We need to, try to find our chances against them because they are vulnerable. Liverpool aren't remarkable. We might have a chance, but he needs to sit down and think about it because, yes, I agree. The squad of players are just awful, most of them. But I think the manager needs to get his hands on this squad and actually manage for once. Because, look, I'm not saying I haven't watched Ajax by the end of the Ten Hag's reign, but even Ajax fans are saying that, in the last few months that he was there, they kind of started falling apart because he was too stubborn. And I want him to, let go of that Dutch stubbornness for once and just think about the game and this squad and how to prep the game. Because in the last few games, apart from Chelsea one, because they are awful, the managers and the managers' decision making has been poor, in my opinion. So yeah, I agree with everything that Andy said. I absolutely agree with the squad being bad and all that, but I think the manager needs to take a hit for that as well.
Okay, brilliant. And sitting quietly in the corner for 23 minutes now, it's the beacon of positivity. It's Omondi. Omondi, you've heard lots from Andy and Dora. What are your thoughts, and how do you feel this morning after the game last night?
Yeah, I'm not very positive, to be honest. It's not about. I'm not going to go into why we lost or the players. I'm just sad being out of the Champions League. I mean, I'm watching the game tonight, Newcastle. The atmosphere is fiery, and they're on it, and the fans are going off, the players going to the fans like that. And I would love the atmosphere at Manchester United. That'd be nice. But you're hearing negative reports about how it's so quiet there and just flat because people just know we're not very good at the moment. Just going back to Ten Hag, this is what the show's about. I do think there's a lot of knife crime in society right now. Society's really messed up. And as you get older, you say, look at the younger generation. In the 60s, they used to say, look at them, they're wearing flares or they're rockers, or they're dancing, to Beatles and all that kind of thing, or wearing their hair long, that kind of thing. And it was frowned upon. And I think with society today, it just gets worse. And I think that culture is a cultural thing. I was discussing this about my Sunday team, parallels with that. There's a culture with players today which is not cool. And when you got someone to cut things out, you have to have tougher punishments, don't you? So if someone's committing crimes, if you're carrying a knife, you can get 9-10 years. That should be a deterrent. And I think what the Ten Hag's come along, he's come along and said, right, we need to get rid of this culture. It's unacceptable with this Dutch, like Dora's mentioned, the Dutch mentality, where they're like black and white. Said, no, this is not acceptable. And it's got to be cutthroat. And I just think he's doing the right thing. Any leader like you say, a prime minister or whatever, if there's something wrong in society, you give tougher punishment, you give tougher sentences for things like that. And his one has been quite ruthless. We got rid of our famous Ronaldo. Who would have thought that? You know, it doesn't matter who you are. You still got to go by the law. And that's what I think I like about Ten Hag. He's been consistent with his punishments. Where I can accept, I can see there's behaviours I don't like from some of our footballers. And like you say, I'm not going to talk about birthdays or anything, but me and Andy around the same age. And happy birthday, Andy. Sorry.
OMONDI.
Happy birthday, Andy. It's today. So I just want to say, like, I think things change and you can get disgusted by behaviours. If people today, like, we're an older crowd on this channel, there's other channels that support some behaviour and don't have any issue with it. But I will say, no, this ain't acceptable. Some of this behaviour is not acceptable by some of the players. And you want to work hard and you shouldn't. It's just a standard. You're supposed to. There's things you're supposed to do. You're supposed to work hard. You're supposed to be playing for the badge, not just kissing it for no good reason. You're supposed to be wanting to win and have that pride. I think that's been eradicated. To get that back in, you need to have punishments for people who are not on it, who are not going to train hard, who are not going to abide by the certain rules, and to get rid of them out of the club. And let that process continue with Ten Hag. Let him continue to punish these guys, get them out of the club, and let's start fresh with the right attitude, a whole new attitude adjustment to get to have a revolution. There's a song by Tracy Chapman, by the way. Don't you know we're talking about a revolution? And it's whisper. And I think with the thing going on with the new ownership, under, you know, we don't know really what's going on. We hear bits and bobs from time to time, but there's a revolution. You know, shh. There's whispers. Just carry on what you're doing. The revolution is happening, and it will not be televised, as Gil Scott Heron would say. It will be live, and we're getting there. I want to be where Newcastle are. With a chance going through tonight, with that atmosphere, with that, you know, to be a Newcastle fan now is fantastic. I want to be where Man City are at the moment with their facilities and their manager. Everything's fantastic. Tonight, Man City, this is what we used to do, could go to the last group game, not in the situation we were yesterday, bottom of the group and with no hope, go to the last group game and play two youngsters who both come on and score goals. What a valuable experience is that? So that just shows the contrast of where Bayern are, where City are, where Newcastle are, and where we're at. And we can't just say, right, we just want to turn it around just like that. It has to be a long, drawn-out thing. There's a situation at the club, like I said, about people deserve punishments for their crimes and not working hard enough, not being proficient enough with training and being professional enough. Could let that continue. Don't just wipe that out now. Let the manager continue with what he's doing. Eradicate these guys. Exterminate all this bad culture that we're experiencing right now.
Andy, in the film Transformers, is it Bumblebee that is only able to communicate through song lyrics?
Yeah, through his radio, and TV commercials, Bit
That's
like...
OMONDI.
Sorry, that's so funny.
See parallels with this Man United squad. Maybe if Ten Hag were to communicate through rock music or TV commercials, he might get through to some of their brain cells that there's a game going on. You know what I mean? You play the Jaws music when Haaland's behind you and you're Harry Maguire, you might get somewhere. You know what I mean? The Jaws is behind you or whatever. Or Predator. Fucking hell, let's get out, you know what I mean? Up there in them trees. You know what I mean? And there's the Man United defence looking around. Bloody hell, what's going on? Keeping on your toes.
They're just playing Benny Hill.
Benny Hill, yeah. You can play Benny Hill. Benny Hill without a doubt, yeah.
All right, let's have a look at some comments, shall we? First up, we got Luke Chapman, who I don't think we've seen before, but he's saying Merry Christmas and Happy New Year 2024.
Thank you.
Big G's in the house saying Oi Oi Savaloy. And he's also asking Andy to give him a smile. Whether you do or not is up to you, Andy. And it's Mr. B. Mr. B's still Ten Hag in, but if he keeps picking McTominay, I can't back him too much.
Oh, I love that. I've got to use that.
And UK Strains is saying it's the manager's response to losing what gets me mad. Yesterday, he said we played some good football, lol. Did Ten Hag's post-match comments annoy anyone else? Like, he does seem to watch different games of football to me.
Just quickly, it's Tucho's comments. It's like he said it was clear before the game that Man United plays 6 attacking and 4 at the back, where we know the balance is 5 and 5, the rest defense. And he said there's an advantage. He said he was fearful of that because of the attacking threat that they would give with 6 attacking. But he also was aware, he said, this is true facts. He says he's also aware of how vulnerable Man United would be with only 4 defending. It's funny that.
What struck me as really strange is that throughout like the Champions League campaign, we've been so open and we've played almost kamikaze football. And yet last night when we needed a win, we played with a handbrake on. And even in the last sort of 20 minutes or anything, they didn't seem any plan to sort of like to go, balls to the wall and try and score a goal. I thought it was really weird, to be honest. Like the game just died and the energy died. And it's really concerning.
Yeah, it's quite sad because the route when Copenhagen it went around the ground that Copenhagen scored, you think, you know what? For God's sake, go at him. For the last 20 minutes, just go at him. Throw the kitchen sink at him. I mean, you couldn't even get your spanner out your toolbox to throw at him. You know what I mean? And that's what it was. It was... Yeah.
And we still had Europa League. Like, it wasn't like there was nothing there. All right, it's a consolation prize, but there's still Europa League football to be had. And I'm of the opinion that with Manchester United's history of what's happened in Europe over the years, that it's an absolute disgrace for any Manchester United team to go out of Europe before Christmas. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's only ever happened once before in the last 25 years, wasn't it? I think it was the 05-06 season with Ferguson. We went out and we went out to Basel. Benfica beat us and we finished 3rd, I think. And the following season, Fergie made the changes and we won the league. So that was the only season we did. Yeah, 05-06. We finished. I think we finished bottom. I don't even think we finished. I think Basel took the Champions League, took the UEFA place. So yeah, I think it might have even happened in 2010. I think actually, 2010-11 season we went out the Champions League early. Yeah, 11-12 season. I think we went out in the group stage. So I think 3 times we've gone out the group stage in the last 25 years, and it's a rarity to happen. But when it does, it is a disgrace.
Basel used to have a beautiful left-footed player. I can't remember his name. Omondi, if you can tell me that at some point. But anyway, less about Basel in 2010. More from Hydro. If they sack Heath, and they will sadly, get Keno in and sort these pussycats out. Do we think, like, Amondi, you're always in for sort of authoritarian leaders to come in and like whip stripes off the players and things? Dora, do you think that we now need like essentially a psychopath in the changing room to get these players in order?
I don't know. I don't know. I think that most of this squad had authoritative manager. I think that Ragnik was one. I think that Mourinho was quite strict. Ole wasn't. I think he was their friend more than a manager. And I think Ten Hag is, I don't know what is happening behind the closed doors. Of course, he's going to, protect them in the media and say some delusional things after the games, just to protect his players. But I think that behind the closed doors, he is strict. He seems that way. And I think that he showcased that last season, after those 2 first games when he, told them to run the missing miles or whatever. What was it? So
yeah,
I don't think so. Yeah. So I don't know. I think these players got complacent. I think they think they made it already. They signed for United. They have huge paychecks, and they were 3rd. They think they're good enough. But I think that the whole league got better. Most of it, especially the likes of Aston Villa, Newcastle. You have those teams getting better and better each year. and we kind of got left behind, and I think this is the consequence of that. But do I think the lunatic will fix this? I don't think so. I think that there needs to be, I think we need to have a perfect situation, right? We need to settle our, we need to get a great CEO or director of football or whatever. I think everything needs to kind of settle in the best way possible for the manager to be, a perfect fit for this club. I don't think, imagine us getting Jose Mourinho once again. What will he do with this squad of players? Or, I don't know, anyone, Conte. I mean, I'm scared of him. Or Gennaro Gattuso. I mean, that guy is insane. So do you think he will fix this squad? I don't think so. So, yeah, I think we need to have a perfect situation.
Yeah, I think the only carnage we need the structure in place to rip it all apart, rip that team apart with the authority, with the manager's help, and let's say clip some of these players' wings permanently.
Do you mean move them on?
Yeah, move them on. Or clip them, downgrade them, and just humiliate them. Humiliate them. Not in public, but give them a severe dressing down. A severe dressing down,
like a reality check.
A reality check. Like these days are over now. This ain't happening anymore. You either fall into line, or you're going out. You will not play, full stop. Or you're going out the door. I don't care where you go. You could go play in the Siberian League for all I care. Just get them out. Seriously. And you wouldn't like to play in the Siberian League if there is a Siberian League.
Yeah. Do you think that that's happening at the moment with Martial, Rashford, etc., like being benched and stuff?
I would say that to one or two players, the opportunity has gone now to be part of any future. Marcus Rashford, poster boy. Yeah, he's quite safe. But will he be safe if Jim Ratcliffe comes in? You know what I mean? Is there going to be a clash between Glazers and Ineos? Because even then they will Ineos and the Glazers, they will try to screw each other over on a decision. You know what I mean? They'll try and get the better of each other to see what's right for them. Ineos may want to do it for United, but the Glazers will want to do it for themselves if they want to save £40 million and take it towards their side of the water.
Yeah, I mean, there's an economic theory called the end game, which is that two parties that are like working together but have like a sort of finish point. They normally start off well, but the closer you get to that finish point, the more they start working less for the collective and more for themselves individually. So I would suspect that what we see with Ineos is that at the beginning, they'll be testing boundaries, just seeing how far they can push their power and things. But I would suggest that for a while, it'll be quite harmonious, and then it'll all begin to kick off like a little bit.
I don't mind if it's the Wolf of Wall Street. And if it is any of this legal and Ineos trick them, boot them out, I don't care. Is it legal? Absolutely not. But if it gets them out, I'm all for it. If the Glazers can bend the books, I'm all for Ineos to do it to get them out.
Okay, cool. And we've got Box coming in saying that we played Casemiro, Rashford, Varane, Martinez, De Gea, and got battered 7-0 at Anfield. I tell you, Sunday is a scary day. We've got Rajat, who's saying, hello, Yabba Forbes.
Hello, Rajat.
And here's one of my favourites. It's Super Nick. She's back again. Everyone wave at Super Nick.
Hi, Super Nick.
And she is 100% supporting Dora here. And, oh, my God, I'm so sorry, Vincent. I was too caught up in talking to Andy. But it's Vincent. Hi, guys. Hope you're well. We Dutch are too direct for the UK. He should go to the German league or back with us at Ajax to develop a new young team. So, I mean, do you think that there's any truth in that? That, like, the players just can't deal with the culture clash? Because, I mean, did Van Gaal suffer a similar issue?
Yeah. They tried to undermine. He brought in a coach, didn't he, and an assistant, and he tried to undermine him. And like, who are you? You know what I mean? Rangnick brought somebody in to help him till the end of the season, and they, from what you heard, they were mocking him straight away. And like, who are you to tell us this? Who do you think you are? Yo. So yeah, there has to be a reset, and there has to be, let's say, a culture shock. Well, don't you think some of the players at Liverpool reacted when Klopp come in? This is a reaction. Same with Pep, a reaction. If you can't deal, if you can't deal with a reaction and a reset and a culture shock, you know Ten Hag's been doing this. He done it. Look at last season. They told the line last year, and now like they're all kicking off again. Blah 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 blah. Maybe Ten Hag needs his boys in the dressing room. He needs them on the pitch. You know what I mean? Like you say, some of these players need the wings clipped. So who knows? But if you can't adapt to a manager's requests, tactics, even though they may be wrong, you don't know. I don't know what to think anymore, because I'm like everybody. I'm scratching my head, and Gary Neville said, I'm sick of watching my team. I'm tired of watching my team. And I shouldn't be saying that. I get up on a Saturday and I want to watch my team. And I don't want to go to a ground expecting, you know what, why am I even here? I did this under Mourinho. I'd really, even at the end of with Rangnick, I stopped going for a while. I took about 2 months out, not going to Old Trafford. I walked the dog. You know what I mean? I walked the dog. I spent time with my missus than rather watch your football. That's what I did that's what I did at the end of Mourinho's tether, and that's what I did with most of these players last when they got Ollie sacked. And we were still in with a chance with 4 games to go to get a Champions League spot. It was unbelievable. I remember I had 2 tickets for Norwich City. Was it Ronaldo got an hat-trick? Do you want to go? I went, no, Dad. I give them to my dad and his neighbour, and they went, and you know what I mean. And that's why I just don't care. I really don't care. I would rather work. I even spent time working overtime because I didn't want to go to Old Trafford. Wow. That's what it was. I couldn't give a rat's ass about him. That's the mentality I took when it was started downing tools.
Yeah, but Andy, you don't want to be classed as singing when you're winning. Sort of
no, but
you have to grind down and
you just stand there.
This is where you have to support them through hard times.
Yeah, you support through hard times, but can you be bothered spending your hard-earned money to watch that, and it brings you down and you're down and you're down? From a mental health, anxiety perspective, you know what? I don't need that part in my life. I know I can separate football from my anxiety now. I don't need it. And if I can take it out, put it out for a few weeks, I can do that now. Whether like 20 years ago, I couldn't, because United with it was everything to me. Alex Ferguson, this, that, the other. We were unstoppable. But now, like you say, the older, the wiser, 49 today, I can do it. I can separate from United, and I don't let overpriced players get on top of me now, so it's just not worth it. I can separate it.
Just give them a finger, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Rashmano is agreeing that a competent director of football and a CEO would be nice too. Yeah, I think we all agree on that, don't we? That to give the manager a chance, there's got to be people who have a vague idea of what they're doing above him.
Yeah. Just throw something out there. It was a guy called, when Klopp came in, he didn't. Our guy Ten Hag has come from that structure Ajax, so there was obviously Van der Sar,
and Overmars.
Yeah, all these guys, and there was a structure there which made him successful. He's come to Man United, and he's been allowed to get players that he's familiar with, unaware that they couldn't really adapt, to this league maybe. But then I do think that when you're talking about, I'm losing my train of thought now.
Klopp.
Klopp. Yeah, going back to Klopp, he came into Liverpool and he wanted Julian Brand because it was someone he knew from the German league, and he was told no by their equivalent of
Michael Edwards.
Yeah, Michael Edwards, that's the guy. He was told no, we're giving you Salah, and look how that turned out. So no one. I think Klopp is a great coach. Leave him to the coaching. I think Ten Hag's a great coach. Leave him to the coaching. But when you start, he's being labelled now, not just from our poor performance. He's also being labelled by, oh, look at his signings as well. I'm hearing that being brought up. And that is some of his responsibility. Because he's come to a club where he's been allowed to pick up players where he's not, that's not his expertise. It's a bit like what you were saying about Ralph Rangnick coming here and being an actual coach, which he hasn't been for 10 years half time, which is true. His expertise lied elsewhere. And I think when you allow a manager like Ten Hag to come in, say, right, let's get this running, let's get this moving, and suddenly he's got first time in the Premiership. All right, let me bring Anthony and Martinez here. I know them. I'm familiar with them. That shouldn't really have been allowed. Using that example with Salah and Klopp.
If we hadn't got them two, we wouldn't have finished third last season. We wouldn't have made 2 cup finals. So
yeah, but it's
at
more
the time, Man United's scouting system is truly pathetic, and it still is now. This is why we need this entire reset. Yeah. And it's Man United's scouting system has been truly pathetic the last 10 years.
I'm more agree with Omondi on this rather than Andy, because I think one of the problems United have had back to Ferguson is that, like, Fergie was a one-off, and he was able to sort of control and exert his authority on every aspect of the club with tremendous results. So, you know, he was able to identify a player, he was able to deal with all these different things, and he also surrounded himself with people that filled in gaps in his experience. The problem that we've had since then, going to Van Gaal and Moyes and Ollie, is that we gave them too much power over contracts and transfers. So in some ways, it's completely reasonable to allow Ten Hag to bring in 2 players like Anthony and Martinez to help him transition us to a new style of football and all that. But when you concentrate power too much in one man, it means that when you need to remove the man, which you will at all times, that you have to start again. So for me, having a director of football who has a longer term view allows you to have like much further reaching success, like kind of a bit like Liverpool's boot room in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Yeah. There's a philosophy that flows through there. I mean, Dora is. I mean, where do you stand on this? Do you think it's a problem with our coach or with our scouts in terms of the players that we've got in that have underperformed?
I mean, probably both. I think that, you know, is you know, both Omondi and, you know, Andy kind of, you know, mentioned, and even you, Bedtime. I think that, you know, having Overmars and Van der Sar is, you know, it was a luxury for Ten Hag during those days, because first of all, Ajax is a, you know, it's a it develops talent. And, you know, and of course they dominated the Dutch league. They are fighting against their, you know, rivals Feyenoord and PSV or whatever. But they were always during Ten Hag's tenure, they were kind of, you know, dominant. But they also, you know, created a great system, a great squad that, you know, finished in the semifinals of the Champions League. They were great, you know, and of course, you know, but of course, that's Ten Hag's doing as well, but it felt that, you know, he had an easier job because he had 2 guys above him that, you know, of course, you know, they are discussing which talent they need for you know, Ten Hag system or whatever. But, you know, Ten Hag wasn't the one responsible of, you know, okay, I need this guy no matter what, blah 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 blah. You know, it's obvious that, you know, he came in this squad or in this club, and, you know, it's a shambles, as you said, Bedtime. Like, since Sir Alex Ferguson, you know, left, you know, we have managers coming in, getting full reign of everything. They are CEOs, they are directors of football, they're scouts, they're everything. Like, you cannot do this. Like, this isn't, a football manager save file number 24, and you are coaching what I'm coaching Dinamo Zagreb to become the champions. Like, I am a CEO, I'm a director of football, I am a president, I'm an owner. It's hard. It's really hard. And you know what? We are in the modern era where every single position needs to have a squad of people, or a man or a woman or whatever, to manage these things, and to help the players and the manager to be the best as they could. Like, I feel that I know that there were rumors when he signed last season that he didn't want anyone. I think I don't know if that was true. Apparently he didn't want anyone. He would be the one responsible for the transfers, and he already identified the talent that he needs for his squad rebuild or whatever. I think that was the case last season, and I'm not sure if that's true, but if that's the case, then I think he has beaten a lot more that he could chew. But also, why isn't there someone like Jim Murto or whatever, John Murto, whatever he's I'm Jim Radcliffe, John Murto, okay, John Murto, and Darren Fletcher, who is a technical director, and not Matt Judge, but the guy right now who is responsible for negotiations, Hags. Why are they, or the scout, the head of the scouting department or whatever? Why are they not there to say to the manager, look, we like that you want to bring your old great players, whatever, but in this moment in time we cannot do it because they are too expensive, or they are not in the long-term vision of the club or whatever. Like, they could have do something about it. Like, it seems to me that Ten Hag came here, he said, you know what, I will, we don't have a director of football, we don't have a proper people in their roles. I had Van der Sar and Overmars. I saw what they were doing at Ajax. I'm going to do it by myself. And I think that was a red flag from first moment that he came in. And I think that the club, if there was anyone competent in that club, they should have just said, you know what, my guy, like, you cannot do this. Like, you need to be a manager, you need to be a coach, you need to be in charge of the squad, and that's all. Like, you cannot sign talent. Like, it's amazing to me that it was I didn't mind it. Like, okay, he's signing Martinez because he's signing his former players that he coached during his career and all that, but it kind of became a bit weird in all honesty, because the criticism that he cannot identify a proper profile of players, it kind of went against him, especially when you see right now that most of his signings didn't pan out, especially this season. So yeah, it kind of backfired on him. But I think if Manchester United is a competent club, and it isn't, they should have said, you cannot do this. Like, we are going to find you immediately a proper, an assistant or whatever, who is going to help you, identify the players. So I think it's both. I think everything is a problem at this club. So it's not only Ten Hag, it's not only a scouting department, it's everything. It's everything. So yeah, it's a really complex situation, and I think we will need years and years to get out of this mud. And I think we as United fans will need to, settle down and just watch us get battered by big teams, our rivals, and wait for the hope, or and go to the light at the end of the tunnel. So I don't know what to say. So it's quite dire. It's quite dire, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it's taken Arsenal like maybe 4 years to sort of get up. So I think if everything's correct, with the financial power and the glory behind Manchester United, like the almost sort of manifest destiny that we have, I think that if everything's done correctly, we can get back quicker than people think. But it's so difficult to get all the right cogs in order. And
so
speaking,
within a 4-year bracket, we could be talent challenging for the league. You think, if we get this structure in place, everybody, they would have 2 years under the belt, say, then by year 4, you may see something on the pitch. The players moved on, players brought in who know what's expected of them.
Yeah, I 100% feel that. And I think that the one advantage one of the advantages we'll have over Arsenal is in about 4 years, we won't have to deal with Pep Guardiola in the league. And he's just been a monster. Like, he's the real Jaws.
You don't know. He could go on long as he wants, man. He controls his own destiny.
No, City is going to get relegated, so let's hope for that.
There's that section,
The lawyers
maybe there'd be an infinity gauntlet, then you can erase the last 10 years. So if they are stripped of trophies, I don't want any second-hand trophies, then like you start from scratch again.
Just don't give it to Anana. That infinity gauntlet. He'll drop it. All right. I know to everyone watching, we're so pleased that you're all here. And we've had a show with lots of talkers on tonight. But we're going to go through your comments now. But I'd just like to thank everyone who is watching and giving their time up to see us. And you do this all the time. And we're so like proud that you think we're worth listening to be honest. But we got Super Nick here saying, United remind me of the world at large. Those at the top of the pyramid capitalize on wealth and leave everyone else below to scrap and distract from the higher-ups who are the puppet masters. And that sort of late stage capitalism is right up your street, isn't it?
Are you comparing the United to the Illuminati? Is that what you're comparing them? and we are the poor people who have to suffer to satisfy the rich.
Yeah.
Interesting fair, eh? Interesting.
Lizard man at the top. Lizard man.
We got Rushmano saying Ineos already has weeks worth of data on our medical recovery department. Big changes incoming. I wonder, do you feel that Ineos had become like the Kobe Mainu of the managerial sort of like the management structure, where we're just pinning all our hopes on maybe something we don't completely understand?
They've run this through their computer and they've got a response. Is that? You know what I mean? 3 or 4 computer technicians have come up with this. They're called, was it the Big Bang Theory crew? It's 4 of them, isn't it? Yeah. We have a Sheldon, we have a Rajal, we have a Howard. I can't remember the last one anyway, but even Penny. So there's four computer geeks who run all this through a computer. Well,
Penny would be Luke Shaw.
Yeah, Luke Shaw, yeah. Luke Shaw would be Howard. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Rebel, hello Rebel. He's saying, I don't think Ten Hag is the biggest issue at the club, Big T. There is a long list of players and people in administration positions that I'd have going to the door first. And Super Nick is asking you on Monday, when will you be doing a music stream? I've started watching the games whilst listening to my favourite music. It's been a necessary game changer.
Yeah, you should see, if I turn my camera around, you'll see my wall of vinyl music. I'm actually DJing on the 30th of December, open session of Rare Groove, you know how it goes, and Revival Reggae. So yeah, check that out.
And Rebel is also saying there was an interesting post about players in the squad since LVG or Jose. It seems when the going gets tough, these players get the arse and down tools. And Big T's asking you, Andy, is it the manager's job to get the players on board, infuse them, or keep them motivated to his plans?
Yeah, I think he has to get them on board. But if they're not getting on board and getting down with it, what can you do? It's like being it's like going to a shark pit, isn't it? Or a crocodile pit. It's like you're in trouble wherever you go. You know what I mean? You're looking around, you're looking for help, and you got all these, like you say, you got all these crocodiles looking at you. We're going to swallow you up. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's partially the manager's fault, and he has to learn quickly. He has to but it's a player's responsibility. I say I'm sick of these players down in tools again. These players need to be sacrificed. Like I said on the paddock last night, put it all into a car crusher, crush it up, put it into a cube.
Oh my God.
I mean? Throw it. I don't mean the players properly. I'm just take all that negativity, all that badness, get it out, put it into a car crash compactor, and just have it in a little cube and just chuck it on the scrap heap. God, I'm not that bad. Jesus, you know, these are people. I know that. You know what I mean?
Dora, do you think that it's the manager's job to motivate the players, or should the players, should motivation come from within?
I mean, do I have to say it again? It's both. It's both. I think that, first of all, I'm a very passionate individual. If I love something, if it's my dream to play for the club or whatever, I would give my 100% every game. Like I have that mentality. Maybe long term isn't the best, you know, because, you know, you're going to get, you know, maybe burned out or whatever. But, you know, it's a dream come true, right? Playing at Old Trafford, you know, Premier League, Champions League. And I think if that isn't enough of a motivation for you to step up and showcase your talents and showcase that you deserve to be there in the spotlight, I don't know what it is. I mean, not even just, you know, in the context of the club or the dreams, but their individual dream, right, for themselves. And I don't think that some of the players are playing for themselves, especially, you know, the likes of Martial, Rashford. They do, to me it seems like, or Sancho, to me it seems like, you know, they just don't care and they're not playing for themselves. At least, I mean, they can say whatever, you know, they love the club or whatever, but I don't feel it because they don't believe it. They don't believe in themselves, and I think that's the main. That's an issue. I mean, I suppose I would like to think that Ten Hag is trying to motivate them. You know, even at the sidelines, I'm seeing, you know, him yelling at people, and, you know, even getting in, you know, in shouting matches with the players, you know, like he did with Martial. But yeah. It's always both, but I think if you don't have, you know, a dignity or self-respect to actually do it by yourself, I don't know what are you doing there. Like that's my opinion. If there needs to be a person every single time telling you need to run, you need to work hard, you need to do it for yourself, like what are you doing in your life? And I think that's a huge issue within this club, and I think we need to get rid of it immediately.
It's the same thing Mondo said. It's a culture thing. It's a society thing. Easy money, no work.
Yeah.
Do you think it also? Go on, Amanda.
Can I just add? Yeah, I mean, this is a good point about motivation and what you're fighting for, and especially with sport as well. And it reminds you, like, I love amateur sports, like athletics. It's amazing when you see their drive and they're crying on the podium for winning a gold medal and all the hard work they put into it. And I'll go back. There's a guy called Theo Stevenson. He was a 3-time Olympic gold medalist for Cuba. And he was just during the 1970s. So Don King was saying to him, I'll give you like $20 million, come and fight Muhammad Ali or George Foreman. And he said, no, my motivation is I fight for my people. I fight for my country, to live in my country, in Cuba, regardless of the politics. He wants to live in Cuba. He doesn't want the money. That's not his motivation. His motivation is for the love of the people. And I just think that's fantastic. And like we're saying, when you're asking about, is it the manager's job to motivate these players? It shouldn't be. Take away their money. Where's the motivation going to come from? What makes you motivated, Darius, Bath Time, to go and play football and be a winner and be part of that, you know? What makes Andy motivated to go and check out smaller clubs and think he sees something there? They're not getting paid as much, but he sees enough spirit there. What, you know, their motivation. Are you going to pick up their manager, non-league manager, and bring him to United because he's got these players motivated? You know, something has to make them click.
What you're talking about is intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation, where intrinsic means inside. So you do something for the joy of doing it. So extrinsic motivation means you do something for the end result. So the easiest way is think about that as money. So, or like if you like computer games or something, intrinsic would be you like playing the game. Extrinsic would be you do it for the high score or the rewards or something
that makes sense,
like that. But one thought that I've had over the years about the motivation of the players is I wonder if they look around the squad and they think that they don't have the fear that someone is coming to take their place. And from the youth as well, that Rashford has had no fear for years, and Garnacho's turned up, and he doesn't really know how to sort of process like what he's feeling and things.
I've noticed that he ain't a star boy anymore. This Garnacho's going to replace Marcus Rashford, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. Oh, what a shame.
Well, I think that's part of the culture problem we're talking about, Andy, where like Keane or someone like that would say, yeah, bench the other players. You've got to rest people from time to time, but you're not resting me because I know that Nicky Butt is a great player and he'll come in and like he'll play a couple of good games and you can't drop him. And I think that sort of standard of I wouldn't even say it's fear, actually. I'd say it's respect for the other people in the squad. I think that the players don't all respect each other as great footballers, and so they're not giving everything day in day out because they're not scared of someone coming and taking their place for six or 7 weeks. Like, and that's why I've got to rate what Maguire's done, where he's done exactly that. He's taken his chance. He's come in and he's made himself like probably the first name on the team sheet. And so when we talk about a culture.
That's character.
Yeah, but that's not come from United.
If that's the attitude of Marcus Rashford and Martial, I would rather have a young striker from the under-18s and the under-21s just up front instead of them two. If that's their attitude and that's how they want to see it, I cannot be touched. I would rather have a young player, young striker, fresh, hungry, like the last one who, what was he called? He's got a Forest. Alanga. Alanga. If that was for the second half of the season, a young, fresh player with Rashford didn't know how to react that season. If you remember it, he had a good 3 months. All right, he tailed off near the end, but he had a good 3 months, and Rashford didn't even know how to comprehend it. He couldn't take it. So that's what he needs. Like you say, you need competition. You need to look at yourself, like you say, mate. I won't cry. The kids may cry if they sold Marcus Rashford, but there's many a red who, you know what I mean? They won't cry if Marcus Rashford is sold. Seriously.
I genuinely cried when Danny Welbeck left the club because I love Danny Welbeck. Like, I loved him so much.
Be honest.
Yeah, he's roughly the same age as me. He replaced Rooney against Real Madrid.
His dad lives in Droylsden. He's about 10 minutes up the road from me.
Well, go and tell him how much I love his son. See how that goes.
Just one thing. I think David Beckham, quality player, but he's also got that desire. It's not, but he's got loads of money. But his running power, the way he used to carry teams, I like his character. You can't help but like him.
He had it all. You know what I mean?
That's what we are.
Lost it, when he left Man United, he lost it for a bit, but he found it again.
Yeah. His desire.
Yeah.
His desire and his work rate. Yeah, he lost it for a bit, and he built him up.
That's a manager's dream, isn't it? To have players like that who are self-motivated, and you can just go out there and do other stuff and focus on other issues rather than having to work on how to get the best out of these players. Like Martial, for example, and the way, I don't know him personally, but his whole face is
placid.
There's no emotion, no frills.
I've seen him go off the other week. He's like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
How do you get the best out of him?
Yeah, but Amondi, the point I wanted to make about Danny Welbeck is that it's very difficult for me not to dislike a youth player that's come through United. They're they're representations of us. They're they're from Fallowfield or Longsight or whatever, and they represent the values of the club, and they should know what it means. But with Rashford, I've never been able to warm to him. I don't know what it is. And when you think about Becks, one of the things that I think we're missing in the squad as well is that the characters back then could deal with other people telling them that they were rubbish or they got to work harder or they got to prove themselves. And Beckham was dropped against Real Madrid, came on and did he get a hat trick?
He got two, but when he scored that free kick, it was a bit that was that fist to the crowd, and it was like that was Alex Ferguson as well, in the media.
And I don't want to trigger anyone, but the only time that we've seen something like that in the last 10 years is McTominay against Brentford, like coming on and just fighting for the club. And it's I'm now very swayed by this argument that the culture needs to change, because I'm of the belief that the players, they're not even on easy street. They've just made an environment that is completely counterproductive for a winning club, where there's no competition, there's no respect, and
no accountability either,
and no respect for us, for the fans. Like they're going out there and they're always blaming other people, and I don't like it. But I think we've run well over time, which is unsurprising with all four of us on. So unless anyone wants to carry on, I think we're going to close the show up now.
No, just to go back on what you're saying. Here's the culture. Sure. If the whole show was about Ten Hag, and a lot of people say Ten Hag out, Ten Hag out. Hopefully today we discuss things, and not just like the blatant things and ranting and raving. I think it's been a good discussion about it. But the culture, we have to identify that the culture has to change. The manager is doing that. So that's why I back him, because he's on that path towards changing the culture by being disciplined and slapping people up when they need it. That's how you go about it. Discipline. That's the most important thing, and these players need it. So to change that, back the manager. Otherwise, you're gonna get someone else in like Ollie, who's just gonna friend them up again, like we said, and that's not gonna work for us. So if you want to go forward, stick with this manager, regardless of the mistakes he's made. I'm not here saying he's flawless. He has made a few mistakes with his signings. He's been allowed to do that. We discussed that. He has made the mistakes sometimes about his tactics. Even Thomas Tuchel mentioned that yesterday, how vulnerable we are. But when it comes to where we do have to back him, he's trying to cleanse this club of this bad culture that we have in it. And for that alone, I back him.
Okay. Dora, do you have any sort of closing statements, or you want to tell us about Bogdan?
No, I don't know anyone who is named Bogdan, by the way. But I mean, I agree with everything. Like, the culture is bad. It's poor. It's not the club I started rooting for 15 years ago. So yeah, it's hard to watch. And as you said, you mentioned Beckham. He was a celebrity. He was constantly in the media, and still he showed up and played for his boyhood club. And even though he has his flaws, he's not a perfect human being, but he was a great player for Manchester United. And I think that any local lad or guy who dreams about United and playing in the spotlight needs to look at it and say, okay, I can do it as well. And it's surprising to me that Rashford is a local guy. He grew up he had a rough childhood and all that. He talked about it multiple times, and to not have a motivation to do it, like to be at the top, because someone else is going to come in and they will take his place. And I don't think that he can play like this or act like this in the other club. So yeah, I totally agree. And thank you for having me. I've been enjoying this discussion wholeheartedly.
It's always an absolute pleasure to have both of you on, and I must apologise to the comments because our guests are so interesting. I stopped reading the comments, and I'm so sorry. This is a community channel, and we should have read more comments out. So I do apologise for that. And Andy, do you have a final statement like Jerry Springer to take us away with?
You're the father.
Like He-Man. Remember He-Man used to drop it.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, these players are just as bad as the owners. They are dragging us down.
Yeah.
And there's no accountability from the owners and the players. And if you think you've got it easy, Sunday, you haven't, boy.
Oh.
That shark, that great white shark is coming. And if you are not ready, he's going to eat you alive.
God, that's where you kick him with the theme of Jaws, that music. That would be deadly right now.
Yeah, we're going into the shark cage. And it's like, you're going to get this little needle through his skin, and the shark will just rip the cage apart.
Can he smell blood? A little drop of blood?
Yeah, a little bit of blood. That's it. We are done. You tell me it's a 1-0 Sunday, just 1-0 for Liverpool, I would be dancing a Fandango on Sunday night.
I'd get in a Shark Tank for a 1-0 at Liverpool. I can't lie.
90 minutes with the great white sharks swimming around you for 90 minutes to get a 1-0. I think we'd all do that, wouldn't we? Yeah.
I can't even swim properly. And on that bombshell, we're going to end the show. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow and for the rest of the week. And as always, Andy and Dora have open invitations to come on. So if you like what you see, like and subscribe and follow them on social media. And that is good night from all of us.